I am Amy Thurman, inspirational speaker, best-selling author, podcast host, and I've had a couple of disappointing days. The past couple of days have been very disappointing days for me, and so I wanted to come on and just talk about that. It's not something we talk about enough. People ask me a lot because I have lived the past 10 years with a broken neck. I live in chronic pain. I have autoimmune issues. I have a lot of health issues. So people ask me a lot, how do I do it? How do I stay positive? How do I stay uplifted and still live with all of that? So I wanted to talk about that for a minute because it is a whole process that I go through, and it's not just a simple answer. But I wanted to share a little bit about while I'm still in the moment, while I'm still feeling it, while I still have a headache today. I wanted to just share with you a little bit about what I do and how I deal with it and the tools that I use because people really do ask me a lot. And I thought this would be a good way to share that. So, most of you probably, if you are following me or have followed me for long, knew that I was supposed to have a live TV interview today with my local news station that was so excited about. I built that up, I shared it, I splattered that stuff everywhere because I was so excited. And it wasn't just because I was going to get to be on the live TV, it was because I was going to get to share my mission and my purpose to a wider audience. Well, something happened this morning. Some breaking news happened, and so my segment had to be postponed to a later date, to July 30th to be exact. I'm so thankful they were able to postpone it. But as you can imagine, that was so disappointing to me. I had worked myself up. I had gone over what I was going to say. I practiced it. I was getting ready. I figured out what clothes I was going to wear, and I was just so ready. And then all of a sudden, it was just gone. Like I couldn't do it. And so I was just so disappointed in the moment. And yesterday, I was supposed to have a pre-recorded TV interview that had to be postponed due to Wi-Fi issues. And so I feel like disappointment is a part of life, right? It's something we all deal with. And knowing how to deal with it more effectively, I think will be helpful. So I don't want this to take long, but I do want to share a little bit about how I dealt with my disappointment the past couple days. And what you see of me is what I am like most of the time. Like you can ask my kids, this is just how I am because I everything was stripped away from me when I had to lay in bed for 23 hours a day for almost a year because nobody could figure out what was wrong with me. I Everything was stripped away from me, and so everything I have and I'm able to do, I'm just so appreciative of. I'm so, so grateful for everything I'm able to have and everything I'm able to do, and so I truly do live life from a place of gratitude, and that makes a huge difference. But I also use some tools that I developed to help me learn to continue to live in this capacity. And so today, when the disappointment hit, I obviously, as we do, I was so sad. Sadness and disappointment, they go hand in hand. And so I shed some tears because I felt sadness, I felt disappointment. And that's the first thing I want to help you understand is that I didn't fight it. That's the key. The very first step is I didn't fight those emotions. That's what I felt. That's what was coming up at the time. I felt sadness. I felt like I needed to cry to help release that sadness, to allow it to serve its purpose so it can move on. And so I did that. I let myself cry about it because I was sad. I was disappointed. There was no reason to not cry about it, right? Although we're taught otherwise, we're taught to not show our emotions, which is a whole different series altogether. But I allowed myself to feel that today. I allowed my body to do what it needed to do naturally to process that emotion, and I cried. But I didn't like how that felt. Even after I cried, I still felt sad and I still felt disappointed about it. And so I knew after all the introspection that I have done, I know that I can't let it carry on. Like it serves a purpose, but you don't stay there. I couldn't let it just continue to carry through my day because it was going to affect the rest of my day. And I had other things I had to do today. And so I went to my tools and I would just want to show you the tool that I use, the one that I created that I use for myself. It's called an emotion frequency chart. It's a freebie on my website. I'll show you how to get it in just a minute. But it's 100 different emotions that I put into 10 different stages based on their vibrational frequency. everything has a vibration. Like it's science, it's proven. Like everything vibrates at a different frequency. I talked about this in my book. If you've read my book, you know what I'm talking about. But everything vibrates at a different frequency, and emotions are the same way. Our emotions all vibrate at a different frequency. And so I took the 100 different emotions and I put them into stages based on their vibrational frequency. And so I just use that chart to help me move. First of all, I have to understand where I am on the chart. So let me share this chart with you. It is on my website. If you go to getamyshelp.com, there's a button there for freebies. It's under the freebies button. I think I put this in the description too. But let me share this. Let me full screen it here so I can show you a little bit better. And this is the chart that I just created based on what I learned laying in bed for about a year about the different emotions. We are only taught like a handful of emotions through life. As kids, we're shown these pictures of faces of this is what happiness feels like, this is what sadness looks like. And that's all we know is a handful. Y'all, there are so many more emotions that we're not taught. So I took 100 of them and like I said, put them into these stages. And so what I did today, this is what I do. I use this multiple times a day. I don't have it as often as I use it. I still don't have it memorized, but this is what I did. I went to the chart and I said, how am I feeling right now? I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling disappointed. And so I noticed that, okay, disappointment is in stage 5. Sadness is all the way down here in stage 2. So I was feeling some really low frequency emotions, some low vibration emotions. And that's not a place I want to stay. That is a place that most of us live on the lower level frequencies. But when we live in that place, our perception, our motivation, everything looks different. We see life from a different lens when we're living on the lower vibrational frequencies. And I know that I don't want to stay there. But the first thing we have to do, the first thing I have to do is identify, where am I? What am I feeling? Like that's the key, identifying what you're feeling, which is something that has to be taught. That's why I put these 100 emotions in there. And so I identified, okay, these are the stages that I'm in. I'm going back and forth from stage 2 to 5 and 2 to 5. And I was feeling some in 3 and 4 as well. So I was bouncing around. You know how it is when you feel like you're just spiraling, you're just bouncing all over the place. And it began to feel uncomfortable. That's another point I want to make is that it's okay to allow our emotions to serve their purpose and to do what we need to do in the moment. Like I needed to cry this morning and I needed to allow that cleansing. But after that, excuse me, I didn't want that to hang on for the rest of my day. And it started to feel uncomfortable. And so I had to figure out a way to come out of that. Stage 5 was the highest stage I was in at that point. I had to figure out how to come out of that stage 5 and move up the chart, move to a higher vibrational frequency on this chart. And so what I had to do is figure out, where do I want to be? Yeah, we all want to be at stage 10, but the body won't really allow us to move that many stages at one time. And so we have to figure out, okay, what is the next stage or two that I can go to? And so I looked at stage 7 and I said, oh, trusting. Okay, trusting is where I want to be right now. I'm feeling disappointment, but man, I really want to move up to stage 7 and I want to feel trust right now. And so what I began to do was to talk to myself differently, to think different thoughts. And when I was thinking, I'm so sad and disappointed, I was looking forward to this, I had to change the way I was thinking. And I started thinking, you know what? This is happening for a reason. I don't know what the reason is, but I know that maybe it's not time for me to share the message that I was going to share today. Maybe whoever needs to hear it is not ready to hear it yet. Maybe I know there's a reason. This breaking news is much more important than what I had to share today. And I began to shift my mindset, shift my thinking to a much higher vibrational frequency. But the key for me is I had to choose one, or curiosity is a good one too. Asking, maybe from the other's perspective, what it might seem like, not just from my perspective, because when we look at things from other people's perspectives, we learn a lot if we will allow that to happen. So, asking a couple questions, maybe trying to see things from a different perspective, from a different emotion. I'm gonna pop this off there so that I can actually see what I'm doing here. Whoops, where'd it go? Off there. Put me back on there. Okay. Um, And so I wanted to move from sadness and disappointment to trusting. So I began to change the way I was thinking. I began to change the questions I was asking. And here's another thing, like this you also have to understand what you're thinking. So you have to become aware of, what am I thinking right now? In this moment, what are the thoughts I'm thinking? And I knew, so I had to become conscious of, I'm thinking that how sad and disappointed I am that I wasn't able to do this today and share this message of hope for people today. And so I had to switch that. And so that's pretty much the short version of that chart. Again, you can find it on my website under getamyshelp.com under the excuse me, under the freebies section. But I also have a program that I have created based on this chart. It's a 12-week program where we walk through each of the stages one by one. And so we spend our first week is a discovery call. Then we talk about stage one, and I we go over every one of those emotions, and I talk about what they feel like in the body, which I think is very important. What we are taught is, this is what this emotion means. This is the definition of sadness. That tells me nothing. You have to know how that emotion feels in your body. And so that's what we cover in each of those stages. So each week we go over a different stage. I have some journaling prompts and some really introspective things for you to take on. The people who have been through this program tell me it's life changing. At one point I said, I just can't do this. I can't do the program. It's too emotionally extensive, because it is. It's emotionally extensive for me. And the people, my clients have said, you have to do this. This has to be in the world. This has changed my life. You have to do this. And so I'm figuring out a way to make it work and to use it to help other people. So again, today I wanted to just share with you, after having a couple disappointing days, I wanted to come to you while I was in the moment and still not feeling my best. Like, I'm still not feeling my best. I'm still struggling to get to the stage that I want to be. But I wanted to just share with you how I do it, one of the tools that I use, and that it's a conscious effort. It's not something that comes naturally to me, because people think, and I want to make this clear, I need to do a better job of this. People think that this is just something I just naturally do, that I'm just a happy, positive person all the time. That is not the case. This is something I have trained myself to do. This is something I practice, that I have developed tools to use every single day to help me stay in that happy, positive mindset. It's not something that comes naturally to me. It's not something that, as a human, it does not come naturally to us. We have a negativity bias. Our brains focus on the negatives. That's why it's so easy for us to pick out the negatives in everything, because that's just the natural state of our brain. We have to train ourselves to think and to be otherwise, and that's what I've learned how to do, and that's what I want to help you do as well. So that's why I wanted to share this with you today, and so that you could see and understand that this is not something that comes natural to me. And I wanted to make that clear, because a lot of people have been asking me lately, like, how do you do it? How do you stay this way all the time? Is that just who you are? And a lot of it comes from my experience, like I said, of being, everything was stripped away from me. So I'm very grateful. I'm very appreciative. But I also have a lot of tools that I use to help me continue to stay in this mindset. And so I wanted to share that with you today. So if you have questions or need help, want to know more, please reach out to me. I put a link in the description of those that will allow the description of my website. If you want more information on this particular program, just go to the Polish the Mirror 12-week program, and I will send you some more information about it. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here, you guys. I think I'm going to go to bed now. I think it's been a long enough day for me. I think I need to call it a day. All right, guys. I love you all so much, and I will see you later. Bye.